Welcome to the basement sublet
of horror.
I, your host, Gunther Dedmund, back with you again for tonight's film, The Creature from the Haunted Sea, filmed in 1961 by Roger Corman. It was part 3 of his black comedy trilogy. The first was Bucket of Blood, then Little Shop of Horrors, and tonight's film, Creature from the Haunted Sea. Well, it's a pirate film, it's a gangster film, it's a comedy, it's a mess, who knows? Anyway, off to the film with you. Go, go, go. Creature from the Haunted Sea.
The 20th century occurred in Havana, Cuba. The revolutionary victors marched in, and the national complexion changed completely. They had been liberated. The survivors of the old regime escaped as best they could, taking with them only a few meager effects, such as the Cuban treasury and other art objects. It wasn't always easy to smuggle or loot out of Cuba, and so secret meetings were being held all over the island. This story of robbery, double-cross, and murder begins with just such a meeting.
Are you Renzo Capetto?
I am. Who are you?
Never mind who I am. It's the mission that counts.
Let's get on with it.
As an American gambler and gangster, you're above suspicion. Of course, you know that our government has been overthrown.
You know, I heard that. Shut up.
But not for long. We'll be back. And if you think you're seeing executions now, oh boy.
Bravo. Bravissimo.
But of course, in order to finance our great counter-revolution, it has been necessary for us to steal the Cuban treasure.
Hurrah.
Shut up. Let us proceed. You're going to lose your casino, so you'll be leaving Cuba anyway. You have a big yacht, and you can leave anytime you wish, such as immediately. Therefore, I'm going to entrust you a solemn trust. Here we have 1/4 of the Cuban treasure. Your group, General Tostada, Coronel Cabeza Grande, and a squad of men will proceed to Ciudad Trujillo. There you'll wait for us to contact you and relieve you of the money, 1/5 of which will be paid to you. Do you understand?
I get the whole picture.
Now you do the rest. Señores? General Tostada, Coronel Cabeza Grande, Señor Renzo Capetto y...
And now, the gold.
It wasn't really a plot against George Peters, but I'll admit it might have looked that way the morning his wife Jane stopped by for coffee. We had just been in our new house 2 weeks, and I was still ecstatic over everything, especially my dream kitchen. Well, how do you like it?
There's only one word for it. Terrific.
You know, I'm so proud of it, it's almost indecent of me. I can hardly wait to show it off.
But it's just impossible. You've no idea how much I've got to do. Remember, I haven't got your dream kitchen to make things easier. Mine's strictly the nightmare type. And I wish George would do something about it. All he's done so far is talk, and not with any real enthusiasm.
About moving, you mean?
We've looked at a couple of older houses, but that's no improvement. We've got an older house.
You two had better get into the car.
The general doesn't know any English, Senor Capetto. I'll be his translator for you. Bueno?
Bueno.
Bueno. Métanse al auto.
Now it's time to go. Adios.
Adios.
I'll see you later, huh?
Pronto.
If only there was some way of really selling George on the idea. The fifth freedom, maybe. Freedom from unnecessary drudgery. Freedom to go shopping when the urge hits you, or when there's a sale going on.
Well, sale or no sale, I'm swamped. Besides, my mother's been quite ill in Cleveland, and I've been thinking about taking the weekend off to visit her.
I've got to get my clothes in the dryer. I'll show you a couple of my prized beauties. This setup makes any day wash day for me. And I can do my drying in any kind of weather with a gas dryer. It couldn't be easier. It's completely automatic.
I remember seeing this washer in the magazine ad. It's automatic, too, isn't it?
That's right.
Isn't there a little colored guide light that follows the operation through the various stages?
Yes. I know exactly what's happening. I don't even have to watch a clock. Wait a minute. You say you're going to visit your mother this weekend. You know, Janie, my girl, this might prove a very fortunate trip for you.
The first move in the great conspiracy had been made. The Cuban treasury was now in the gentle hands of Renzo Capetto, the most trustworthy man ever to be deported from Sicily. They thought they were smart. But little did they know that I, Sparks Moran, was an American agent. Luckily, I had been able to work my way into the crew by posing as a notorious gum machine burglar from Chicago. My real name is XK150.
Hey, you. Come on down here and help with this.
How'd it go, Bugsy?
We got the stuff.
Crazy.
Hey, Colonel Grande, you can bring your men aboard.
What happens with all that mob?
I don't know. I thought we'd just have an officer or two, but it looks like we're going to have a little difficulty.
You'll think of a way to remove them and grab that loot. 'Cause you're my big, strong, swinging brain.
You're sweet, baby. All right, boys. Get ready to go. Pete, take the wheel. Jack, you and Sparks, get ready to cast off.
Well, this is a beautiful night for sailing.
Now, just for kicks, don't get too far ahead in your housework. Now, why should you have to lay out everything all nice and ready for George and Jimmy, down to the last egg and can of salmon?
Oh, no, I couldn't. I'd have to make things easy for them. After all you've been going through, this might be the awakening for friend George. The big, bright dawn.
Sailing in the most astounding adventure to be inflicted upon man. And what a group we were. The big cheese was Renzo Capetto, alias Capo Rosetto, alias Rado Pizzetti, alias Zeppo Staccato, alias Shirley Lamore. Now deported, he has retained his contacts with the syndicate and is still regarded as a dangerous character. Mary Belle Monahan, alias Mary Monahan Bell, alias Belle Mary Monahan, alias Monahan Mary Bell. They say she was a gun moll just because Lucky Luciano gave her a Rolls Royce every Christmas. Oh, I know that she got nailed cold when she was pushing heroin in a laundry room in Boys Town. But I'm willing to give anyone the benefit of the doubt, especially when she's as crazy looking as Mary Bell. This is Happy Jack Monahan, so called because he developed a muscle spasm in his cheeks from watching too many Humphrey Bogart pictures. Since taking up with Renzo, he has become a well-known dice loader and murderer. Pete Peterson, Jr., son of Pete Peterson, Sr., famed vaudeville bird mimic. Pete Jr. inherited his father's talent for animal imitations, but unfortunately blew his brain out of whack while imitating a whooping crane at the Elks Convention picnic in Oshkosh in 1942. Since then, anyone has been able to convince Pete of anything. He has been Renzo's faithful servant, shining his shoes and rubbing out his enemies. In return, Renzo permits him to imitate any animal that comes into his head. That, for instance, was the mating call of the Himalayan yak.
It might do him a world of good to be left all alone with Jimmy for 2 or 3 days in your kitchen. Well, Jane finally got off for Cleveland. Still not too certain she was doing right by leaving George and Jimmy by themselves, even though George was absolutely sure they'd get along just fine. That's what he said, just fine.
There they are, my shipmates. I didn't know where they were taking those unsuspecting Cubans, but I knew they were taking. And so, with grim faces, we set our helm against the perilous future.
Of course, when you leave a man to his own devices, he's apt to think of something fancy, like curried chicken with rice. But in this case, George not only should have done a little more thinking about his recipe, but should have kept his eyes on the stove as well. Now, if he had just let his rice simmer instead of boiling. But frankly, I doubt if George knew how to bring things to a simmer.
Now, look. We've got to get rid of at least half of these Cubans without making the rest of them suspicious. There used to be a Cuban fisherman by the name of Hemingway. He got hooked on a sea monster in these waters a couple of years ago, and he was dragged for miles. Got a lot of publicity. We're going to show these boys the greatest sea monster they ever saw in their lives. Jack, in my trunk, there's some garden rakes used for weeding tomatoes. You get them and sharpen them like scalpers. Pete, you mix up a mess of olive oil and green ink and snag some seaweed from over the side.
So anyway, in the film tonight, they're creating the monster, and little do they know that there's already, well, you'll find out anyway. Got my famous Monsters of Filmland can of goodies tonight, and I've been digging through it, and I've got Dracula and gargoyles, and I've got mummies and little creepoids, and anyway, I'm going to play with these. You guys take a break.
And now, back to the basement sublet of horror.
What are Lorenzo and Maribel up to on that boat? Oh, by the way, if you shy away from kissing scenes, I mean if they really disgust you, you better close your eyes, because this next scene is... Ow.
We've had a good life together, haven't we, baby?
You know it, Boops. Winters in Tijuana, summers in Cicero. Remember that wonderful trip we took to Monte Carlo?
You mean at the time we heisted all those $100 chips? Sure.
I'll admit, I couldn't really hear anything through that door, but I was sure they were up to no good. I knew it was up to me to stop them.
Well, maybe it was the mess, and maybe it was just the temperature outside, but George thought he could use a little cooling off. A nice, icy lemonade would be just right.
Hey, Pop! When am I going to eat?
What's this ice tray here? There's no ice in it.
Oh, I guess I forgot to fill it.
Now we're off again to parts unknown.
It's like a second honeymoon.
You know something? We ought to get married.
Now, don't be a drag, baby.
How much Jack do you think's in that strong box?
There's plenty of Cuban sugar, though.
What are we going to do with all of it?
I don't know. I always wanted to open up a home for the aged hoodlums.
Baby, you got a heart as big as all outdoors.
Sometime you might ask George, how far is a mile? He would tell you it's the distance from his sink to his backyard garbage pail.
A government agent lives in constant peril. I devised my undetectable radio set using simulated hot dogs for knobs and tubes inside of dill pickles while watching a number of sewer workmen during lunch hour. It comes in mighty handy, believe you me. One little slip and I could be headed for Davy Jones' locker. Hello, Havana. This is Agent XK-150. Over. I'm making my first official report.
Firmino, so was he. Betty Boopy wanted for his queen, but that was not to be. For Bimbo was her lover, bold and a hero, strong was he. And in the castle where they lived and fought so merrily was old King Cole with his mean old soul. And Bimbo and Betty made three.
Betty! Hey. Get down there, stay where you belong. No more of that. I'm the king. He's the king! I'm the king. He's the king. I'm the king. He's the king. Let's fight this out on the square.
This is Agent XK-150 signing off. A secret agent should never sleep, but there I was, dreaming of Mom's apple pie, while up on deck, Renzo and his cutthroats were taking the first step, killing an innocent Cuban, and pretending some imaginary monster did it, just so they would be panicked into changing course, so that Renzo could steer them to his own picked destination.
Now, like many men tackling a problem, George was very efficient. Very. The smart way to do dishes was 2 meals at a time.
Jimmy, did you have to take a bath this time of day? I'm gonna drop a hot water in the sink. I got a stack of dishes here a mile high. I'm gonna be here till midnight. What's the matter with you?
Wait 1 minute, then give the alarm.
But what none of us knew was that the monster invented by Renzo had already been invented by somebody else. By a couple of other monsters, I guess.
Hop a jump, stop a jump, hinky-dinky jump a jump. Oh! Oh, I'm right. Look. Hop a jump, drop a jump, root and jump.
Well, I don't think it was anything human that killed your soldiers. Seen the tracks and the claw wounds on their bodies. Now, in my studied opinion, those soldiers were attacked by some weird creature from the sea. Came in, did your boys in, and vanished again. What's so funny? That creature, how silly. Did you really think it?
¿Cuál es la gracia? Yo creo que esto solo ha sido hecho por un anfibio desconocido de aguas desconocidas.
Yours, Colonel.
Well, the general says, you're right, it is the monster.
Estas aguas son muy peligrosas. Debemos trazar una nueva ruta.
The general says these waters are very dangerous, so we must plot a new course.
Come on, boys. Come on now. Make this cut now. 74, 83. Parody. Eeny, meeny, money, ho, hip. Come on, boys. Right to that line. Touchdown. Hey, touchdown. Hey, hey.
Alakazam zing, Alakazam zoom, Alakazam saw a king go right around the room. Alakazam rip a rap and that's not half.
Bimbo's running right down the line. Bimbo is his name. We hope he makes a touchdown now. Bimbo is his name. B-I-M-B-O, B-I-M-B-O, B-I-M-B-O. Bimbo is his name.
Catch that? Our brave General Costello didn't miss an excuse to blow the trip and change course.
You think he's got a glint in his eye?
Pure gold. Maybe we won't have to knock them all off.
Oh.
You boys are getting careless. I told you to kill one, not two.
What's the matter? Can't you count?
Okay, Pete. Take the wheel.
Gee, I thought it was only one.
Well, I can't figure this out.
So we were going somewhere I didn't know. Washington didn't know. Renzo didn't know.
Ah.
Hello, Kingy. Kingy. Oh, Kingy. Hello, Kingy. Oh, no. Come on, I'll fight you, you big gorilla, you.
All right, I'll take care of you right now.
I said.
Can't you see the love light in my eyes? Huh? Huh? Oh, I have you in the hand. Let go! Let go!
I'll save you!
Nothing can save you now, me proud beauty.
Stop! Let me alone, you big brute, you!
Has anybody got an idea? About what? About where we're going.
I thought it was to Ciudad Trujillo we were going.
Oh, no. That's been changed. Well, General Tostado thinks we ought to change course in order to escape the monster.
¿Por fin dónde vamos, General?
Caracas, Venezuela. No.
Actually, I think we ought to go to Cannes. It really swings this time of the year.
Yeah, will you listen?
So strange, my friends. I always had a secret desire. I always wanted to go to Bali, you know.
Bali?
Bali? Bali!
Hush, I'm the king. Drop that girl. Okay.
Wise guys!
Aki woo, aki wa, aki waki check.
Icky low, icky high, icky wicky check.
Celebrana magana move and double check.
Please tell the General that I am convinced we ought to go to San Juan, Puerto Rico. Now, the first thing we've got to think about is to escape this pinky monster. Now, if you take a look at the chart, you'll notice there's a lot of deep water just north of Puerto Rico. Too deep for the monster to live in.
Well, how do you know he can't live in deep water?
Because of his feet. He's a walker, and he's got to stay at the bottom. All right, stupid?
Right, stupid.
Now, when we get to Puerto Rico, we'll take the strong box ashore. Now, as an American, I won't be noticed. I'll take a plane up to Ciudad Trujillo. Take the box with me.
The General says it's all right. We may go to Puerto Rico. But he wants to keep the strongbox out of his sight.
Okay, it's a deal.
Where can you go to avoid the monster? You're on a tiny boat in the middle of the ocean. Nowhere to go except into the water, where the creature is. Sounds like trouble. We return now to the basement sublet of horror. So, the crew are all getting casual, so I'm going to get casual with the crew on the basement sublet of horror. Yeah, let's just go back to that film and be casual. You go, you go.
Now, let's appear casual.
Now you're gonna see something. Oh! There. Oh, thank you.
I think I smell land. Are we almost there?
Oh, about 6 or 8 hours. Now, Pete, I want you to listen carefully. Now, on the north coast of the big island is a teeny speck of land called La Isla del Borracho, named after one of Columbus's lieutenants. It should be deserted by now. We ought to be able to land there, huh? Good. Now, there's a reef around the island and a very narrow opening which we have to go through. I am going to run this yacht on the rocks, right at the entrance. Now, during the panic, we'll take the strong box, load it on a skiff, and head for shore. Now, Pete, when we get over 30 feet of water, I'll give you a signal. And then I want you to capsize the boat. You understand? Later, Pete, we'll come back and dive for it. You understand everything?
Sure. We hit the rocks, and then we put the box in the skiff, and then we dump it over 30 feet of water so we can come back and get it. And that's because it's filled with natural glycerin. It shouldn't be on board anyway.
Alibaraco, look at the reef.
Oh! Take that! And that! And that! And that one! Oh! That's
My hero! That's what the
Reese, get ahead.
We're starting through.
Maybe I'll save you. Come on, Mary Bell.
Your hands, sir.
Very well, I won't leave you. I'll never leave you. We'll drown together.
You demented.
My lunchbox.
My, what a short memory.
It's all right. Be calm, everybody. The boat's insured.
Everything went according to plan. The Renzos and the monsters.
Row your boat gently up the creek. Merrily, 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 I'm going to be sick.
You know, this reminds me of one time on Lake Minnetonka. Louise Schmidt and I were paddling along when what do you think happened?
General says you have your orders as soon as he can estimate the situation.
Well, you can tell El General. Gotta be through giving orders around here. Now look, you men have no money and you have no guns and you're on U.S. soil. That's all right, I'm on your side. Pete, I want you to search the island, see if anybody lives here. Jack, you take one of the lifeboats and row to shore. Make your way to San Juan and rent us a fishing boat and plenty of diving gear. Uh-huh. Come on, boys, let's go. Oh, Colonel, you see if you can get your men to build us a lean-to or something to keep the rain off.
Atención!
De frente. Marche.
¡Alto! Ahora todos a trabajar. ¡Quiero! No tenemos tiempo que perder. Vamos, vamos.
That's great.
Good day forever.
That won't be necessary, baby.
Why?
Well, the way I figure it, these Cubans aren't very much at diving. But Jack, Pete, and I are all pretty good spear fishermen. We'll go down, find the strong box, and hide it in a hole in the reef. After that, we'll tell the Cubans that it's no use. Give up. It'll be safe there for months, even years, until we're ready to come back and get it. You like it?
Booksy, sometimes you are so smart you make me sick. Good for something. Where's the finder, Pete?
Pete, aren't you going to introduce me to the lady?
Isn't she beautiful, Renzo?
Very lovely. Where did you meet? Oh, no.
That must mean they're in love. Baby doll.
Aloha. Get the equipment? Oh, about 20 bottles, 10 regulars, masks, beer guns, the works.
Overdid it as usual. Well, okay, we're going to start diving this afternoon.
I brought something else home with me, too. Carmelita, I'd like you to meet Renzo Capetta, my sister Mary Bell, Mr. Pete Peterson, and, well, I don't know who the large woman with him is. Porfina Perez.
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
You found this woman in San Juan?
Well, she was living in a sort of sorority house down by the docks. She's awful friendly.
Why don't you come on with me, honey? I'll show you our sorority house.
Senor Capero, I have the honor to report that my men will be ready 1 hour.
Ready for what?
To dive to the strandbox.
You mean your men are divers?
Yes, they are Cuban Army frogmen.
Ole.
I had the situation well in hand. Maribel was weakening, as I'm sure you've noticed. Then she came into my life. I didn't see her coming, but somehow I sensed her presence and knew that my life was changed forever.
Hello. Who are you?
Carmelita Rodriguez.
Sparks Moran. As a trained espionage agent, I could tell that she was attracted to me. But I wanted Maribel.
All right, we're ready. Let's just keep it on.
I don't know, but I'm ready.
Vamos, soldados cubanos, a sumergirnos. A sumergirnos.
Hello, Gunther Dedmund here. I've got my diving helmet on. I'm ready to go for the next part of the movie. I'm going to jump in the water like the rest of the crew and look for the creature. Let's go.
And now, back to the basement sublet of horror.
Sometimes the deep ocean, when you're surrounded by water, strange apparitions can appear.
The search for the strong box had begun, but the sea was cluttered up with Cubans, dispersed by General Tostada to search independently. All those Cubans alone in the deep. This was a chance for Renzo to again become the sea monster.
And after an underwater banquet, it's time for a little fresh air.
A lonely Cuban had found one of the many wrecks on the bottom. and Renzo had found the lonely Cuban. Their attack was cleanly executed. The victim was dead, the killers delighted, but not satisfied. Renzo must have another quart of Latin blood. We waited, sensing the dangers below.
While they can't bounce a dribble, they can float one.
While the unholy three sought new prey. It didn't take them long to find it.
And there's another basket.
What's this, Tut? No, it was a monster.
What do you mean a monster?
A real, live, honest-to-goodness monster with claws and everything.
Oh, you're nuts. Pull this way.
Carmelita, it's too dangerous for you here. Let's run away and live a little.
No, I'm in love with Sparks.
Sparks Moran?
Let's see.
Well, how can you be in love with him? He's an idiot. You ought to be in love with me.
No, I'm in love with him. And I don't care if he'll never see you again.
Hello, Carl.
Senor, I'm very much afraid of this monster.
Well, let's pick up and go home.
No, I am an officer. We will not stop until we have the strumbox. From now on, we'll dive with spear guns.
Crazy.
But one man's defeat is another man's victory. Watch him. Just to prove it wasn't an accident, he makes it look just like another aqua frolic.
Where's Pete and the boys? They know we should be diving this afternoon.
I think they're somewhere in the jungle.
Mango! Mango! Mango!
Senor Happy Jack, this girl is my daughter. Her name is Mango.
Mango?
She's towing him to a real test.
You not like mango?
Oh, yeah, I like it.
For here's a stunt few experts have ever accomplished.
She no speak good English, senor.
Well, I don't think that's going to matter at all.
Okay, I'm going back now. Mr. Peterson Jr. He is waiting for me now.
Well, adios, Pussy.
Adios.
And this particular expert is no exception. She scored that one.
What's this? What is this?
The cameraman gets an unusual shot, and here's the result.
Come on, General Tostado, let's get going.
Soldados cubanos, de nuevo a sumergirnos. Una, dos y tres. Una, dos y tres. Una,
dos,
tres.
Here's something even fish can't do. A basketball game underwater. And it's a breathlessly exciting game, especially in a struggle for the ball, because the player who runs out of breath runs out of luck.
All right, baby. Listen, you hold on to these, because I can't use them without Peter Jack to help me, huh?
I'll keep him warm for you.
Tropical waters spawn big denizens of the deep, such as the giant sea turtle, or the ray, of which some species can inflict a dangerous wound with a sharp spine-like stinger near the base of the tail.
Renzo Capetto had at last found the strongbow, and the unknown partner had found Renzo Capetto.
Nobody feeds this fellow. In fact, these swimmers are a little afraid they might feed him. From Maine to Florida, somebody is certain to be looking for a new thrill afloat. And the Battle of the Toboggans behind a speeding motorboat is a novel variation of aquaplaning. The idea is to upset the other crowd. They almost succeed. There they go, and that's what's known as the Battle of the Toboggans.
Why'd you have to do it, Renzo?
Why did I have to do what?
Don't play games with me. Why'd you kill her?
Jack, I swear I had nothing.
I said don't play games. We all saw the same 5 incisions and those brown marks on that stupid toilet plunger.
Why'd you ask Maribel? I gave her the rakes before I went under.
That won't play. You had 2 more in your trunk, just in case, you said, remember?
Yeah, I remember, but they're still there. I can't convince them, honey. Maybe you can.
Sorry, honey. I'm afraid I'm going to have to go along with Jack.
You think I did it?
Well, what else can I think? You made that monster up out of thin air, and don't try to tell me it's real. I'm not that stupid.
But it's got to be real. Either that or the Cubans are trying to kill us off.
I can't buy that.
I don't care what you buy. From now on, we're going to dive with spears like the rest of them. We've got to get rid of the rest of those Cubans as quickly as possible. Now, we'll start tomorrow morning with Tostada.
Possible death notwithstanding, the courageous general and 2 of his men dove once more into the deadly sea. But, as usual, they were not alone. Renzo waited for them to separate. One pulled away, and then there were 2. Tostada went on alone into the forbidding void, with the killers closing in. The giant observer stood watching over a pathetic bit of cloth, all that remained of Mango. At last, Tostada had found his gold in his own watery grave. The general died as all generals should. His greedy murderers let his body drift away while they congratulated each other. Happy Jack found the scrap of a dress and knew what had happened to his beloved. Suddenly. It was dusk. I could tell because the sun was going down.
You were right, senor. All my army is finished. I knew when the general died. I don't care about the fox anymore, the monster. I don't want him to kill any more of my men.
Neither do I, Colonel.
I think we must go to Ciudad Trujillo in the morning.
You can go anywhere you like. I'm going home.
To America?
America? No, I can't go back there anymore. Sicily.
Oh.
I got an uncle there who's been after me for years to help him stamp grapes. It's beginning to appeal to me.
Mary Bell hates me.
I know. But I love you.
Kind of nice having somebody love you.
Why don't you try to love me? You might like it.
I guess I can try. She pressed her hot Latin lips against mine, and I forgot everything but Carmelita. But our silent partner was not going to let me forget. This was it. There was but one thing a responsible, trusted representative of the United States government could do at a time like this. Get out of there.
There you go. I'd just like one more chance to explain. Please.
All right, Brooksy. Doesn't really matter. No matter where you go or what you do or who you kill. I'll love you till the day I die.
Her side wins. There's another basket.
Renzo loved Mary Bell, but he was the skipper and decided to go down ahead of his ship.
That fellow's in trouble. There he goes.
Carmelita, I've never known a girl like you.
You spent your whole life in a monastery?
Carmelita, I love you, and I want to marry you and take you away from all this.
That I would like it, I think.
Of course, we'd have to live on the salary of an American spy, which is $41.50 a week.
I don't care. You're so strong, so intelligent. You see how you solve this whole case? You're the smartest little pea in the whole world.
I'm not really as smart as I look, Carmelita. You see, I have to admit that all that time I thought Renzo and the Cubans were trying to steal that strong box. But I was wrong. The real killer was the monster.
So what? You're beautiful.
So I got the girl. And guess who got the gold?
And so, the creature is the only one who gets any of the gold, as it turns out. I heard that he took the gold, moved to Miami, developed a drug problem, developed a gambling problem, and became a movie producer, if you can believe that. Anyway, lost all that slime and became a regular Joe. We'll be back next week with another film on the basement sublet of horror. And until then, good night, my friends.